This is the biggest cause of why people who decide to move abroad decide to move back to their home country, because they doesn't know or they don't get to learn how to deal with it. Most of the videos you are watching right now about living abroad tells you that living abroad is the best experience, it's the best thing that you could ever do, but is that everything real? So let me actually just give you my opinion about it after 7 years being living abroad. At the end of this video, I will also let you know if that was the right choice for me or whether I regret it or not. So stay tuned at the end of this video. If you're looking to move abroad as well, check the description of this video as well for expats and videos like this one. So definitely check that description out. Now, in this video, I want to talk about my experience as an expat overall, and also the 5 lessons I learned after being an expat for 7 years. So let's start with my journey as an expat. So my journey as an expat really started in Spain. And in Spain, which is my home country, I was actually at university, and my university was part of this program that's called Erasmus. And what I was saying in my university is that other students from other countries were there and were part of this plan that is called Erasmus. So I was always feeling very curious about this, and so this is when I started to come along with them, talk to them, and I really have a very good time with them and make good friends. So if they could do it, why not me? Why I don't actually have this experience of living abroad in another country, right? So I decided to actually apply for the Erasmus program, and after applying for many cities around Europe and the world, I got this Erasmus program in Mexico, in a city called Puebla, which is going to be one of the best experiences in my life. So I decided to go to Mexico for first time, and that was where everything started, when my interest on living in other countries really started. So it was such a nice experience because I get to meet people from all around Mexico, but also from many parts in the world, from Germany, from the US, from everywhere. There were many different people. I get to do very good friends with them as well. We went out on party. We really were traveling all around Mexico. So this experience was definitely one of the best in my life. And when it finished, because I did it for 1 semester for 6 months, when the 6 months finished, I have to go back to Spain. So I came back, and it happened to me what is known as the post-Erasmus depression. So basically, I was back in my country, my life was back to normal, and it was like, wow. It was very intense 4 to 6 months that I spent in Mexico, and now it is very again the same routine. So I really need to do something. So after coming back to Spain, and after 6 months, so the university year finished, I decided to move abroad. So another factor that really pushed me to move abroad at that moment was that Spain was under a very hard situation. Economically, it had an unemployment rate of around 25%, and the young unemployment rate was much higher even. So at that moment, leaving university and getting a job was almost impossible mission at that moment in Spain. So I didn't just want to stay in my parents' house for 2 years until they find a job, because I know many people who spend all this time until they found finally their first job as a university. So I decided to move to London, and also it was a good opportunity for me to learn English. And to be honest, the London experience was a shock of reality in front of me. When I went to London, I was expecting something similar to what I lived in Mexico, all the time going out, all the time visiting new places around the country and meeting many people. But it turns out it was definitely not like that, and most of the time I found myself working because I had to make money to sustain my living expenses in London, right? So after 2 years, I decided to apply for a master's degree. I got admitted. In this time, I got to meet many more people than at the beginning. So after 5 years in London, and after being a little bit unlucky in finding a job after doing the master, I was actually very tired of London, to be honest, especially because of the weather, but also with many other things that were affecting me so much. And I realized that London as a city, or the UK as a country, was not really a country I would like to live in. So I decided to try luck in other country, and this time I went to Malta, which is the country I'm currently living. So here in Malta I got to get involved in this iGaming industry because it's the biggest industry that we have here in Malta, and also it gives the most jobs as well. So I decided to go move my career into that industry, and now this is where I'm progressing and trying to make my way into the career path that I really want to be. So that is a little bit my experience as an expat overall, and there are many things that have happened to me since then. You could imagine this experience has been a little bit of a roller coaster, and there are many lessons as well that I have learned, but overall the most important lessons that I learned living an expat are those 5 that I'm gonna tell you right now. So the number 1 lesson is that don't forget to subscribe and like this video if you really like. Okay, sorry for that, this is not really a lesson, but please subscribe and like this video if you are really receiving value from it. Okay, so let's start with the number 1 lesson now, for real, which is that the problems that you have at home are coming with you abroad. So what I want to say with this is that if you are struggling with something at home related with your personality, probably it is not going to be solved once you move abroad. And in my example, I was always someone who didn't have many confidence. So I was struggling really on that, and when I was going to London I thought that okay, so maybe now in this new country now I am going to be more confident because no one knows me and all these kind of things, and it turns out that no, it doesn't really solve your confidence problem or any other problem that you may have. So that is a big lesson, and don't think that just for moving abroad you are going to get all these things solved, because that doesn't work like that. Now, second lesson is that once expat, forever expat. So this is something that I took from the kind of Erasmus slogan, which is once Erasmus, forever Erasmus, which basically translates into some positive, but I would say also some negative things. So some positive things is that right now I don't think I'm afraid to move to another country anymore, because I have done some times already, and I will not only be able to do it, but I will feel very excited to do that as well. It's something that really excites me. So this continuously chasing for new adventure is something that it comes when you move abroad more than one time. And the downside of that is that you somehow feel that you don't belong anywhere. Okay, so let me explain. So whenever you are in the country that you are currently living in, of course you don't belong to this country because you are an expat, but whenever you go back home after living abroad for many years, you feel like you don't belong to that country anymore in some way. Like many other things that used to be familiarized with you, you don't feel like you are part of it. So it is a very weird feeling, and it happened, it's real. So yes, for you to keep in mind that that could happen, that you may feel that you don't belong anywhere at the end, but it doesn't necessarily have to be a bad thing. Okay, so the third lesson, number 3, is that loneliness is not a joke. Okay, the loneliness is not a joke. So when you are in your home country and you are having a hard time, maybe you call your friends, you call your family, and you meet them and you have some time with them, and after that it's much easier to deal with that kind of issue. But when that kind of issues happen and you are abroad, you don't have anyone to meet with, or at least someone that you trust enough to meet with and telling what you feel. So it's something that is hard. It's hard dealing with things. You are going to be struggling a lot with loneliness normally, and indeed, I think this is the biggest cause of why people who decide to move abroad decide to move back to their home country, because they doesn't know or they don't get to learn how to deal with it, and it's something that is not a joke. So you are probably dealing with it, or you are looking to move abroad, definitely do. But one of the things to overcome this loneliness is, for example, start doing new things, start going to meetup events, and meeting people that have similar interests. Like for example, there are many meetup events. Meetup is an app, by the way, where there are people doing plans and you can join or not. So if you join, you can join plans, for example, about hiking. You can join plans that are about language exchange, and it's very cool. In my case, when I was in London, I used to join a lot to those language exchange, and I get to meet most of my friends over there, and it was actually a very good experience. Definitely do this kind of things, or start doing things that you didn't do before. Like for example, you wanna go to a restaurant or you wanna go to a coffee shop, just go by yourself, start building these habits. You don't really need anybody to do it with, so just start try those new things by yourself and see what's happened. And in my case, I found that it was a very rewarding thing to do, and now I really enjoy doing these kind of things, going alone to a coffee shop, or sometimes even to a restaurant, and spending time with myself. I really enjoy it now that, but before becoming an expat, it was basically impossible even to think for me. Okay, so lesson number 4 is that friends comes and go. Okay, so this is one of the things that's gonna happen to you, especially you are relocating to a country where many expats comes and go, because it turns out that most of your friends are going to be fellow expats, so other expats, and most of the time, depending on where you move, of course, but many countries, making friends with locals can be very, very difficult. So for example, in the UK, where people already have their own group of friends, or maybe people are not really open to meet other people, so just keep that in mind, that meeting other people, especially locals, might not be easy. Another thing related to that is that friends comes and go, right? So for example, many people that you meet today are not going to be the people that you are going to be meeting with in the next year or in the next year. So because many of these people might have come back to their country. A personal experience is that, for example, when I just arrived to London, I met some friends from an English course I was taking, and basically all of them at the end of the summer, they left, all of them. So I was alone again. I have to start over and over again. So this is something that's gonna happen to you, and you might have to start over and over again many times. That's one of the harder things as well on living abroad. Lesson number 5, the way you see the world will change forever, and usually for the good. So what I mean with this is that when you are someone who have not lived in another country, never you have your routines, you used to do the same things all the time, you eat the same food, and whenever there is something that changes on that, it's wrong, right? So when you move abroad, you see that there are actually many ways to do, let's say, this kind of routine, or many type of foods, or many things that you wouldn't even imagine before moving abroad. So a whole world of possibilities really opens up to you. So you are usually much more open-minded when it comes to things. Alright, so those are basically the 5 lessons I wanted to talk about you today. And as I promised, do I regret to have moved abroad after all this time? And the answer is no, I do not regret moving abroad, and indeed, it's something that I really think that is one of the best experiences in my life, and definitely, as I tell you, I will do it again. And I also think that everybody should move abroad at some point, because there are many things that you learn with this experience that it's a whole life experience. Everybody should have this experience at least once in their lifetime. So this is the end of the video, and I really hope that you have got some inspiration from this video. And if you are an expat looking to relocate abroad, or looking to do it for first time, then definitely stay tuned to my channel, because I will be posting more videos related to this topic. And thank you for watching until here, and see you in the next video. Bye bye.